Hey, welcome back. Margaret and Hedwig are about to smash. What? Did I misread something?
Is Melee out yet?
You got a great... Melee's been out forever. Listen, if Melee did not exist, it would be necessary to invent it. Smash something?
Yes. You know. Break something for fun.
Is that fun?
Of course it is. Don't be bashful.
I mean, it's true, right? Like just being able to like break something does release a lot of I don't know if it releases endorphins or not, but it is a good outlet for certain feelings and getting frustrations out, especially. Ah!
I saw you walloping that keg the other night.
Oh. I suddenly remembered Margaret's inexplicable tears during that event. I feel I must apologize for that.
Why?
Because it certainly seemed like you didn't appreciate it at all. Margaret made an inscrutable expression, her mouth somewhere between a grin and a grimace, and her eyes darted to the left.
That wasn't your fault.
Yeah, I believe this part, because it didn't seem it was specifically Hedwig. It seemed like the whole display got to her. Oh. And earlier in the chapter, we speculated it might be because of some aversion to blood, perhaps, given how she reacted during the impromptu surgery on Flora.
Yeah. Follow me.
Okay. I'm just going wherever people tell me to go today. This is not how I was planning on my day going. Margaret moved away, and I had to jog to keep up. She was taking me back toward the chapel. We eventually arrived at the pile of stone rubble, the previous clock tower.
Come round the back for a minute. I think there's still some old furniture in the back of the chapel no one's using.
I followed her to the rear door of the chapel. She cracked open a small door which led into a small anteroom. It was dusty and dry in here. It smelled of old wood and dirt. It looked like the room had been repurposed into a sort of shed. A few old chairs, desks, and tools, all in various states of disrepair, were heaped in the corner. I looked down at the wooden floor and dragged 1 foot over it. It was rather rough. The sole of my shoe kept catching.
Let's take a few of those chairs.
We awkwardly untangled some bits and pieces from the pile of furniture. I still had no idea what Margaret saw in this enterprise, but I followed along dutifully. It's been a few IRL days since we recorded the last chapter. What led up to Margaret asking Hedwig to break stuff?
They were chatting with Moira.
About the clock tower.
Yeah.
And about how you're going to need to have an opinion on it at some point.
Yep.
So it's something about her frustration with that. Okay. But otherwise, it's a little nebulous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We took the chairs outside. Margaret placed hers a few meters from the pile of stones. I mimicked her and then followed her to the rubble. She began to climb it.
Get on up. It's not difficult.
I tried my best to find a foothold on the rubble.
Here.
She reached her hand out to me, which I took gratefully. With her help, I managed to scramble atop the pile of stones. I nearly lost my balance at the top, however.
Careful. We don't need 2 sisters in wheelbarrows.
Oh no. Then it would be Linbarrow Abbey. I don't think we can afford a second one. Indeed.
Anyway.
Ooh. Percussive maintenance is the track. She reached down to pick up one of the smaller bits of stone under our feet, still big enough to require 2 hands, and held it between her legs.
You know what they say, let she who is without sin cast the first stone.
Oh, wow, really?
Now watch this.
She swung her arms up and released the rock. It sailed through the air and then...
Damn, missed.
This looks very dangerous.
What, for the chairs? Give it a go.
Honestly, I thought they were going to take the chairs and smash them rather than tuck rocks, but I guess that works too. Gingerly, I bent down to select a rock to throw.
Far too small.
Just for practice.
Go on then.
I chucked the smaller stone into the air.
Not bad for your first time.
I haven't a chance to develop much of an arm in there. I'd like to think I could have a good slider, but I don't have anywhere to... Hedwig in her cell, requesting one baseball every week and practicing her pitches out her window. She bent down and picked up another big rock and tossed it into the air with a grunt. Her aim was true, though. The rock landed squarely on a table without breaking it.
Damn. Tougher than it looks. Your go.
I picked up a larger stone with 2 hands. It felt so rough and strange in my fingers. It gave me the shivers. With some trepidation, I lowered the rock between my legs and then swung my arms up. And my missile struck a chair. Bits of wood and splinters flew everywhere. I must admit it was rather enjoyable.
There you go.
We began to launch rocks in tandem. A rhythm built up, to the point that I don't believe either of us were really thinking too hard about what we were doing. I assume this is why Margaret had suggested the activity in the first place. The throws became second nature, and the dull thuds of missed shots and the crunching of successful ones eventually became nothing but pleasant background noise. It's really interesting learning what the nuns around here have come up with for their idle time or for fun or for venting frustration, right?
Yeah.
Eustace has her fishing. Margaret breaks shit.
Catherine, well...
We know how Catherine relieves stress. Well, to be fair, that's no longer unique.
I mean, it is unique that she's bringing in men from outside the Abbey.
Okay,
for that
yes, that is unique. It must be in poor taste to expand the bacchanalia. We moved effortlessly enough to be able to converse mid-throw. Whose fault was it?
Whose fault was what?
Oh, the other night. You said whatever was bothering you in the cellar wasn't my fault. I was just curious.
Bit nosy.
Yeah, I'm just concerned for your sake.
It was nobody's fault, really. I just didn't like any of it very much.
Because it was Catherine with the she's, Sherry?
You bought Eustace's reasoning.
I think it was rather nice.
And so did everyone else, I think. Which means that I'm just being unreasonable.
I wouldn't say that. You were the one who told me that I shouldn't have to change my behavior to match everyone else.
I did say that to you, didn't I? Oh, I don't know.
We're missing the in between each of these, because remember, this is taking place in between them hucking rock.
Yeah. Fix it in post. Put in a bunch of clunks and clattering sounds. And
No, I don't want work. Stop making work.
I think there's an element of it that you wouldn't understand.
Did you hear that there was indeed a breaking sound?
I did.
It? Yeah.
So it is unreasonable of me to be upset with anyone, mostly.
Mostly?
Anyone.
I see. Are you sure I wouldn't understand?
Yes.
Well, very well.
You can ask if you'd like.
Well, tell me then, and I can either understand or not.
Nice try.
I'm being honest.
So am I.
She grunted again as she hurled a particularly large stone into the air.
Huh.
It collided with the chair and left a gaping hole in the middle.
Have you noticed that the chairs are getting damaged in the specific ways described?
Yeah, I have. I have noticed the particular attention to detail on the chair damage.
I don't want to burden you with old things. We have plenty of new things to worry about, eh? Like Flora.
Yes, I suppose.
Did you know that carving I showed you disappeared?
Yes, I did. The wall fell away.
That's odd, isn't it?
It truly is.
Do you know why I showed you that?
I assumed it was to show me what a strange abbey this is.
Indeed. It seems stranger still that it's gone now, doesn't it?
Are you upset with me?
No, Hedwig. I'm actually hoping you'll help me now. I'm trying to decide how scared I should be. I'm not a very superstitious person, but when Catherine told me that wall had started crumbling, well, that made me nervous.
I have a horrible suspicion that the ghost I keep seeing was, I don't know, summoned? Ow, my back. Through that wretched carving.
It does make a certain amount of sense in the back of your mind, doesn't it?
Or could have just... Yeah. I mean, we know Flora was in there with a knife of some kind, and I still don't know how reasonable it is to have poked out some of the rocks of the wall, but I also don't know how else to describe, like, how else to think about why that carving isn't there anymore. A section of wall just doesn't fall away on its own.
It's an old abbey. Walls do crumble.
I suppose.
They're standing on a rubble pile right at the moment.
That's true. But then I guess it would be like, would we be saying, okay, that was just coincidence?
Oh.
I'm happy to say it is coincidence. I think we talked about this during our the playthrough of Higurashi, where when it comes to games like this, I am usually willing to play the coincidence card exactly once. You know what I mean? I feel like one coincidence is perfectly acceptable in some kind of strange mystery setting. Because, the coincidence can be the whole reason we're telling the story in the first place. It don't necessarily need to justify that. It's a preponderance of coincidences that get harder and harder to, that start to struggle and beggar belief. So maybe it truly was just that time for the wall to fall away. Perhaps. Did you read her line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You wouldn't lie to me about ghosts the same way you lie to me about sex, would you?
What are we talking about? I was not lying about that. Ow! My back.
Margaret grinned wide.
Very well. But you haven't been lying about this ghost of yours, have you?
No.
One other thing, I love how this is the chapter where everyone is very direct about, Hedwig, are you lying? Hedwig, are you lying? Hedwig, are you lying? At all times. And, I don't know, Hedwig, are you lying?
No, I would never.
I could and would lie about many things. I am a liar. Yes, you are. I am a liar. 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 I apologize. I was expecting the thing up in the upper right corner to go back to liar.
Yeah.
As I had done it.
Had to reboot the Hedwig real quick.
Sorry. Sometimes you need to reboot the... Isn't she also a little bit sloshed at this point? Like the Hedwig telling the story?
Yeah.
Because she explicitly asked for some wine to get through this next part. So it could be just drunk Hedwig is very apologetic.
That's what I thought, to be honest. Why would you lie about something like that?
I am a liar! I am a liar! I have lied! I lie about everything! Why do you believe anything I've told you? Why are you listening to me? I have to lie to tell you this story. I have to act it all out. I have to pretend not to know things that I do know, that perhaps you already know as well. All in service of a story about what a failure I am. What a wretched animal I am. Ugh. No point to it. There's no purpose to any of it at all. I am sorry. I apologize. I must continue. I must continue. It's not a good story if it's easy to tell, is it? I would not lie about that, no. Consider who I am.
That's what unnerves me about it. You're the most pious person here, so if you're seeing something utterly unexplainable, I should take it seriously.
That's a really interesting position Margaret takes, which is very different from how Eustace takes it, right?
Yep.
But both are very reasonable reactions to Hedwig claiming something.
I suppose I do take it seriously. I don't know. I have an open mind. I've seen my share of strange things.
I've seen too many things since leaving my cell to discount them.
She's seen 2 things since leaving her
I've
cell.
seen exactly 2 things since leaving my cell.
And that's too many.
And honestly, that might be 3 too many. You know what I've seen? Lefty and righty. Catch these fists.
Fighting game spin-off.
I'm sorry, Margaret. I get stressed out very easily. Shadows in the corner of my eye. Strange figures in the distance, and then the night everyone thought I was playing a prank.
Wasn't that Eustace?
Oh, that's right. That was her, wasn't it? I hastily tried to decide how to talk around the revelation that Eustace possibly couldn't possibly have been my ghost. At least not all the time, without oversharing. Eustace was some of those. There are times I've seen something and thought, that couldn't possibly be her. Like if I don't know, seen her not a minute beforehand. Or, that's so cruel. Eustace wouldn't do that.
Cruel?
I was dangerously close to spilling details about Flora's attack. Margaret was sharp. I knew that if I put the idea of Flora running around in the walls and the idea of a ghost in her head, she'd draw a line between them at once.
Oh, you know, the goat beheading that I saw? That so-called prank.
But that was Eustace.
Huh. I think my mind might have just been playing tricks on me.
You imagined a goat being slaughtered. That's a rather specific thing to dream up.
Eustace insists. I mean, there was no blood or anything.
That's true. Huh. How strange.
Throwing rocks at old furniture had been entertaining, but idle conversation had given way to what felt like an interrogation. Fortunately, rescue was not far away.
What in God's name are you two doing?
Just a bit of fun.
I was wondering what the bloody great racket was, and here I find you two destroying perfectly good furniture.
It's not perfectly good furniture. It's all from the back room there. Broken and dusty and useless.
That's not for you to decide. Oh, I have half a mind to tell the superior.
Okay.
Marta was looking forward to fixing some of that, I hope you know.
Was she now?
I could sense that Margaret was trying not to laugh. Charity turned her attention to me instead. I like Margaret's like, yeah, okay, go ahead, do it. Yeah, all right.
Do it.
Come on. I feel like Margaret knows Charity well enough to be able to call out some of that.
And you should know better, dear. How can I defend you from nosy gits like Angela if I find you being a little monster like this?
I'm sorry.
As well you should be. Now clean this up, you two, before I drag you to the superior's office by your ears. I think that's really funny because I think we've talked about Charity's position among the other nuns a lot.
Mhm.
And I think it's really interesting hearing her threaten to bring people to the superior
Mhm.
because that doesn't jive with how she's wielded her power in the past. She hasn't needed the superior to get other nuns in line. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't believe that she would actually follow through on that, but if only because then it weakens her own standing among.
Fair enough.
She hopped down from the pile of rubble. I clambered down halfway before following suit. I pinned my skirt to my legs as I fell to the earth. I nearly fell flat on my face without the use of my arms to balance myself. It was bright red as I stumbled to my feet, but Margaret was busy arguing with Charity.
It's all been locked away in that stuffy old room for years.
That doesn't mean it's yours.
No, but it does mean that this shouldn't be an issue.
Watch it. I'm going to come back in an hour. And if this isn't all cleared up by then, heaven help you.
She stormed off. Margaret stifled a chuckle. What shall we do with all the wood?
Dunno. Pile it up, I suppose. Maybe we can toss it in the firewood stores. Actually, that's a good excuse. If Charity brings this up again, let's you and me say that we were making firewood.
Here's another object lesson in how Look, let's both get our stories straight, okay? As long as we both say this, then that's what was happening, and no one can say otherwise.
That's a bit of a stretch.
If we end up burning it, it'll be true in the end.
Huh.
Autem testis est repentinus, consinat lingua mendacii, qui labiam veritatis firmum erit in perpetuum, as they say.
That is backwards.
Hold on, I need to figure out what this is, don't I? Oh, wow. Yeah, that is backwards.
What's it say?
So Proverbs 12:19 says, Labium veritatis firmum erit in perpetuum qui autem testis es repentius consinat linguam mendaci.
And what does it say? Something about a lying tongue.
Yeah, let me see. Proverbs.
And
Okay, that's
something
Proverbs
about-
12:19.
Firm truth in eternity.
Okay, and then according to what is this? This is New International Version. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. So Margaret was purposely inverting that. So is she saying that the lying tongue is the what that lasts forever? Is that what she's getting at?
No, it still says
Oh, it
the
still
same
sa-
verbs are the same thing. It's,
Oh, she's just saying lying tongue lasts only a moment, but truthful lips endure forever.
yeah. We're just telling a little lie, but it'll be true eventually, and the truth lasts forever.
There you go.
Which is the opposite of what that verse is meant to get across.
Yep. Bible chapter and verse smackdown.
That is backwards. Margaret shot me another big, mischievous grin.
Close enough, though.
I shook my head and sorted the scrap wood into a pile. It took well under the hour Charity had given us to complete our task. Margaret graciously handled most of the rocks, which she arranged neatly around the base of the rubble pile. When we were finished, she sat down, her back resting against the rubble, facing the entrance to the cloister.
Also, before we move too far from it, so Margaret declined to share to us why she felt that way, but said it was something, she was the only one who did,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was bringing up something older.
And also that, you bought into Eustace's reasoning. Everybody's thought it was reasonable. Well, I guess I'm unreasonable then.
Because
So there's something everybody else has a shared understanding of that Margaret does not agree with.
Right. Okay. So, and since she seems unwilling to share that or doesn't at this point, then it's kind of up to us to infer it, if anything at all. I don't have any gut checks on that at the moment. But, if you got something,
Swing for the fences.
swing for the fences, as they say.
Everybody but Hedwig and Margaret killed Catherine.
Everybody except for Margaret. And Margaret's just like, I slept in that night.
And is like, wow, that actually sucks. That sucks, actually. Like,
Yeah. Maybe it reminded her of a scene of, like, what did happen to Catherine with the C.
maybe.
Or what maybe she imagines happened to Catherine with the C.
She gestured for me to join her. I sat down, pulling my knees up to my chest.
Bit funny, isn't it?
Huh?
Somewhat of a wake-up call. Charity is more of a danger than any ghost. I know she's real at the very least.
I have felt this since the day I left my cell. I've been so worried about ghosts and devils and eternal punishment from on high.
Because you left your cell? You must have broken some serious vows.
Yes,
Yet here you are.
here I am. She looked at me sideways.
I find that admirable, you know.
I'm not sure you should.
Don't be modest. It'd be difficult for anyone to make a go of it after something like that. Everyone here has had a rough go of it at one point or another, but I don't think anything compares to being locked in a box for most of your life.
I wouldn't put it that way.
I've been wondering, was it really your idea to leave?
Well, yes. Liar.
See, that is admirable. You heard about Catherine and thought, I can make a massive sacrifice to help heal this wound.
What do you mean?
You know, stepping in to fill her role. That's rather selfless. You didn't even know her, or us for that matter.
That is rather funny, isn't it? You all could have found a new chronicler anywhere. Margaret laughed.
Why on earth are you arguing with a compliment?
I suppose I don't know. I'm not used to being complimented.
Yeah? What if I called you handsome?
I bolted to my feet. I would say that's a highly inappropriate thing to say to me.
Easy.
She looked taken aback. I did feel a little bad. In truth, I would welcome a compliment from Margaret. But that wasn't what had put me out of sorts. I've heard those words before. Those exact words.
Oh, that's funny. I wasn't really thinking about it. An old in-joke between Catherine and me. Catherine too, I mean.
I felt ill.
Another thing because that's all the way back in chapter 1.
Beginning of chapter 1.
Which I guess does lend more credence to the person Hedwig was talking to actually being Catherine with
Yeah.
the C. Because they were discussing like the people calling each other handsome, right?
Yep.
And it was like, well, I guess maybe, it's just empirically true, but like still. Lads calling each other handsome.
If you would please excuse me. I need to fetch something from the dormitory.
Certainly. Did I offend you?
I mumbled something unintelligible in reply and staggered off.
I like how no one believes that Hedwig isn't having sex now. Everyone believes she is, but thinks it's with someone else. And thinks that they're the only people out of the loop on it. And Hedwig's like, I don't know how to tell you.
Why does everyone think I'm in my slut era?
I don't even know what sex is yet. The mechanics aren't adequately described in
No
any
one
of my
has ever
books.
explained it to me.
Well, no. She does understand it, remember? From back in chapter 1. She's like,
Well, I do
understand that part. So she knows a little bit. But at a minimum, the thought of anal didn't occur to her.
What if I called you handsome? A joke. Between her and Catherine with a C? I could barely see where I was going. I simply put one foot in front of the other as fast as I could. I bumped into someone on the stairs and slurred an apology as I continued making my way toward the dormitory. After bursting through my door, I crashed on my bed face first. A joke.
A joke. A joke. One about me? I rolled over and stared at my ceiling. Why did this bother me so much? I sniffled.
Is this the first time that maybe Hedwig is feeling jilted by Catherine with a C?
Seems like it.
In that she's like, oh, wait, she shared that joke with someone else as well. Interesting. You know, Catherine hadn't really, Hedwig hadn't really displayed that kind of jealousy around her relationship with Catherine with a C yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this might be the first time she's actually feeling the same kind of jiltedness that other people might have felt, where it makes me wonder about Catherine with a C. Like, maybe she was just really personable and a lot of people misunderstood her, like, intensity as slightly more than it was. Like, maybe that's just how she got along with people.
Or maybe she really was extremely flighty.
Or maybe she was just extremely flighty. Yeah, I mean, like, either way.
Or maybe something happened and it changed her, like Eustace seemed to imply.
Oh, Catherine with a C.
Tears were coming. So clearly I felt something. But what? Fear? Fear had more or less become my natural...
Wait, hold on. Did she like the compliment? Is that why she's afraid? Is she afraid because she's into it?
Fear had more or less become my natural state. I'd heard Margaret's words before, whispered through the hagioscope. Words that embarrassed me, teased me, but it always felt genuine. What was this joke? Was it a joke about me? Imagine Catherine and Margaret sitting together in the Misericorde, illuminated by flickering candlelight. And that's what I asked her. What if I called you handsome? If only I could have seen the look on her face. I groaned. So much for redoubling my efforts to investigate Catherine with the C's murder. I had had the perfect opportunity to ask Margaret some real questions, and instead I had been blindsided by word choice. How useless I was. Once again, I was at my wit's end. I was being pulled apart by horses. The Superior, Sister Angela, Sister Eustace, and the looming threat of
Oh, no, I get it now.
And the looming threat of the demonic were all yanking my limbs. I could break at any moment.
Getting drawn and quartered, huh?
How pathetic. How many hours ago had I been filled with resolve, and now here I was, laid low by a few familiar words. I took a deep breath and shuddered. Perhaps I could find that resolve again. That kernel of determination. God's strength. My purpose. I thought about those horsemen. It was rather a miracle that the existence of that terrifying beast hadn't undone me entirely at this point, I thought. I suddenly felt very clever. It was strange, wasn't it? One of these threats was far more horrible than the others. My personal conflicts were quite petty compared to the creeping worry that a monster had been set loose in the Abbey. So why wasn't I afraid? Well, I was afraid, but I had not been driven stark raving mad. I still went about my day to day. There was that tiny light. There was my resolve, so small but bright. Omnia possum in eo que me confortat.
Jesus, might be in my Latin, huh? So something about possums is what I'm getting out of this one.
Is that all things are possible through in he who comforts me or something? Check me on that. How'd I do? Probably terribly. I remember so little Latin. Did you ever do Latin?
This is from Philistines 4:13. Yeah, I did Latin, but it was a very long time ago.
Oh, it's first person. I can
do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Strengthens me. Okay, so mostly wrong.
Philippenses 4:13. I've never heard of that book. Oh, Philippians is okay, right? Okay, got it. Understood. There you go.
In recent days, I had let some of the most basic, most elementary truths slip from my mind. They had been overshadowed by fear, worry, doubt, and new feelings that I could not quite identify. Feelings like the one that overwhelmed me when Adela... Well, if ever there was proof that all of that was sinful, this was it. Nothing that made less room in my heart for God could be of any value.
So she's admitting that she did feel the space, like the pull to make space in her heart for it.
I dried my tears. One tiny splinter of determination collected from the pile of debris in my head. What could I do with it?
All right, we're done now. That was the obligatory joke, and we could just move on now.
I rapped my knuckles against the superior's door so hard that it stung. I held my workbook in my other hand, gripped so tight the cover might have bent.
Who is it?
Sister Hedwig! Muffled voices. Then the door opened. The superior ushered me into her office quickly. In the fading light, I could see the bishop was seated in my usual chair. He smiled at me, and I nodded in return.
Is something amiss?
No, well, yes. There is much amiss, but, well. The pair of them looked at me expectantly. Specifically, I want to talk about the night Catherine with a C died. Without invitation, I stepped forward to the superior's desk and placed my book down. I flicked to an empty page. I think the best thing I can do right now, to put this to rest once and for all, is to gather as many stories as I can and compare them. Everyone has told me bits and pieces of what they remember, but there can only be one truth. So, if I collect everything and I find the contradictions... The superior and the bishop were both looking at me slightly wide-eyed.
You had not been doing this already?
Well, not this thoroughly, no. The bishop rubbed his beard.
I was not here, of course, but Mabel has told me the story several times.
There is not much to tell. If there was any thread I could follow, I might not have needed to release Hedwig from her cell.
You were in a meeting with Angela, correct? May I borrow this quill?
By all means.
I hastily labeled the map I had drawn. Can you give me any more details?
Sister Angela was arguing with me about her job, naturally.
The bishop chuckled.
She is passionate.
If you would like to take her off my hands, you are welcome to.
Can you be more specific? Just in case Angela's story doesn't line up, you know?
Are you really going to be asking everyone like this? That's no good. The whole reason I pulled you out of your cell was to do this work discreetly.
I cannot think of an alternative, Superior. I have tried my best being subtle, but fishing for all that information would simply take too long, years perhaps. Besides, I have a plan.
Really now?
I am the chronicler of this abbey, and I've been fulfilling my duty, but there is a... Isn't this what I suggested?
Yep, you called it.
Yes!
And I have been fulfilling my duty. But there is a gap in our history, isn't there? The night that Catherine with the C died. Well, in the days beyond until I took my quill up in the library, but the night a beloved sister died has no written record. That is not right, is it? That should be recorded. So, that is my plan. I want to ask everyone about that missing day so I can fill it in. And then perhaps I can find the truth.
It's the best idea I've heard yet, Mabel.
Those girls aren't stupid. They will catch on very quickly.
What is there to catch on to? Young Hedwig here won't be lying. She'll just have a hidden purpose.
And if there is someone who recognizes that ulterior motive...
Then they will act accordingly and reveal themselves. I am understanding your plan correctly, yes, young Hedwig.
More or less.
If her sister with something to hide feels as if Hedwig is breathing down her neck, she will be very easy to spot. And if our suspected killer remains none the wiser, the truth will reveal itself when all stories have been compared. You are a clever one, Hedwig.
Do you really believe that this is the only way forward?
Yes, Superior. I have been doing my utmost, but there is only so much I can ask. It could take years to piece everything together, and we don't have years, do we? I looked between the Superior and the Bishop. For a moment, I hoped that their answer would be yes.
We do not.
I suppose we don't, do we?
How good of an actor are you, Hedwig?
Well, I haven't been found out yet, have I?
Not as far as we know, no. It is not my preferred course of action, but I see precious few alternatives. Very well, Hedwig. Ask your questions.
Okay.
Oh, this is good. This is more testimony.
Yeah.
This is what we were doing at the end in our volume 1 discussion.
Yeah.
This is great. I wish I had those notes in front of me right now, but I do not. So I won't be able to compare this to the Superior's older testimony yet. But this is good. This is juicy.
The morning Catherine with the C's body was discovered, you and Angela were arguing in here?
Yes, it was very early in the morning. It could be described fairly as late night.
Is there anything specific about the argument worth noting?
Sister Angela and I had a disagreement about appropriation of funds. It is her right as prioress to check me on such matters, I suppose.
And then Sister Charity knocked on your door?
Yes. We three went to confirm the body. Then Angela escorted Charity back to the dormitories. I told her to wake up Moira. Then she returned with both Moira and Eustace in tow.
Remember how Eustace said that no one had bothered to notify the Superior?
Yeah.
This has been, I think that was like the biggest contradiction we had latched onto when we compared them earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not surprising it sticks out here again.
You didn't ask for Eustace?
No, but I'm glad Angela brought her. Her help was invaluable. Angela began a cursory search around the abbey for the culprit, while Moira, Eustace, and myself carried Catherine's body into the chapel.
I think that checked out that it was Eustace, Moira, and the Superior. I think that was the same as in Eustace's story.
It is interesting, though, that Eustace showed up without having been called for. That's where it's sticking in the memory bank.
Yeah, like she had already been activated or something.
Mm,
Like she was already kind of on it.
maybe.
Once the body had been moved, I sent Eustace to wake the rest of the sisters so a full search could begin.
And what did you do?
Moira and I stayed with the body and examined it. Well, Moira examined it and I stood watch.
Is that the first time we've seen the Superior's sprite doing a little side eye there? A little shy side eye?
And then what happened?
There was a long wait. Finally, Angela dragged the mail carrier in on his ear. She said she had found him hiding in some shrubbery.
Motivation. What if Angela is just pissed at Catherine fucking so many men, and this is a matter of spite for her?
What is?
To get James accused of this and killed.
Mm,
What if this is about sending a message to Catherine with a K?
could be.
Angela has been very passionate to Hedwig about how, she legitimately believes that, but maybe she's letting her hatred for Catherine, maybe in the most gracious way, she's letting her hatred for Catherine blind her to maybe some of the alternatives. And when she came across an explanation that happened to spite Catherine as well, that was good enough for her. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Worth thinking on.
Do
Sorry.
you think she knows about Catherine and James?
I think she would fairly suspect. Apparently, it's a habit of Catherine's, right? Enough that Angela knows that it's a thing. So if she caught some man hiding around the Abbey that early in the morning, I don't think it would be a stretch for her to assume that's why he was there.
It's just surprising that she wouldn't throw it in her face about it, given the acrimonious fighting they constantly do, and given that they're investigating a murder and so on. Why wouldn't she bring up that, oh yeah, it's the guy who's fucking Catherine?
because maybe she doesn't feel well. I mean, again, I made a guess there. So that's absolutely a detriment against that theory, right? Why wouldn't she if she was confident about it? I have to wonder though if maybe there's enough of her who's like, I still need to make this, if I go after Catherine, I best not miss. So maybe not leaving any room for doubt, right? But that was just a theory. And sorry, there's going to be a lot of
game theory.
A game theory. There's going to be a lot of that because that's what we're here for. Did you read the thing about the shrubbery?
I did.
Moira, Angela, and I escorted him to the hospitalum via my office so I could retrieve the keys.
Hiding in a shrubbery. He didn't mention hiding in a shrubbery. He just said Angela had gotten it, eventually just grabbed him on his ear, right?
Yeah.
That makes it sound more like he was indeed hiding. Whether or not he was hiding because he didn't want to be caught fucking Catherine or because he didn't want to be caught for the murder.
It was a long and very unpleasant walk. I returned and immediately penned a letter to the diocese, and
The bishop nodded sagely.
here we are.
Thank you, Superior.
I am still not totally convinced you will be able to pull these details so readily from the others.
Well, what else is there to do?
I do not know.
I sighed heavily.
Therefore, take my blessing. Inform Sister Angela as soon as you can.
She should be pleased to hear this.
I knew for a fact that Angela would be most upset by my insistence on writing things down, but I hoped that my initiative would at least placate her. I closed my workbook and made for the door. Thank you, Superior. I will begin right away.
Oh, before you leave, our newest oblates are arriving soon.
Indeed.
What will you tell them if they notice you asking around?
Do you intend to keep them in the dark?
I assume they will be curious, but I am not sure how best to tell them.
You can't hide the fact that a sister died here. News will get out sooner or later.
Of course, I wouldn't dream of hiding it from them forever, but they might be put off seeing all this unfolding in front of them as soon as they arrive.
This was not an argument I wanted to have a hand in. If they ask me, I will tell them the truth. After all, I am the chronicler. I am simply filling a gap in our Abbey's history.
I suppose that is all you can do. Goodbye, Hedwig.
I bowed and exited the office. That was one down. The easiest one, I supposed. How to proceed. The Superior was correct. This would be far more suspicious than my behavior thus far. Eustace, for one, would see right through me. I felt slightly queasy thinking about her. I wasn't just breaking my promise to her, I was practically mocking it. I only hoped God would forgive me for this. Justice for Catherine with a C was more important than my friendship with a woman who was holding her death over me. I would save Eustace's story for last then. Maybe I could at least hide my broken promise from her for a week. And also, you already have at least some initial testimony from Eustace. I began to walk idly through the cloister. Perhaps I would run into someone and strike up a conversation and quickly strike another interview off my list. I thought back on the Superior's story. It revealed very little that I did not already know, but at the very least, it provided some sense of shape. A good foundation of stone to build on.
Assuming she isn't lying about something. Right, but...
I do wonder what that argument was about. Appropriation of funds for what?
Clock
What
tower.
sort of funds?
I don't. Yeah, appropriation of funds is very. That's the kind of non-phrase that could mean so many different things.
Is Supermom squandering the Abbey's funds on nice wine to drink?
Why would she could just get a casket from the basement? No one's gonna notice.
True.
Though that would be very funny. Or she's squandering it. Oh no, because explicitly that's being funded by someone outside, right? But I guess when you're in Hedwig's position, like, that's the best you're gonna get. And if there are contradictions or lies in the Mother Superior's testimony, then other testimony will reveal that as well, right? But I guess you gotta start somewhere. You have to have your square one. Ah!
Whoa.
My thoughts veered off course, and I thought now about the clock tower. I had no idea what to imagine. I had never seen a clock. And beyond steeples in the tallest corners of Linbarrow, I had only read about towers. What purpose could it serve? Bells provided all the structure I needed around time. Before I had left my cell, my body had been perfectly attuned to the hours. A more precise manner of telling time than the sun and sky just felt superfluous to me. Well, I suppose I could understand the need for an hourglass. But those mark out a very specific amount of time from a chosen point. They don't loom over the day. Do you not just eat when you are hungry, sleep when you are tired, pray when it is time to pray? As I wandered around the cloister, these silly thoughts bounced around my head instead of more pertinent questions about the investigation.
Oi, Hedwig.
Oh my goodness! Hello again, Sister Margaret.
I've called you twice now. You're off in your own little world.
Yes, I was distracted.
What? What is this conversation going to be about?
I thought you were just going to get something from the dorms.
Were you sitting out there waiting for me?
I was.
Oh, I apologize. I think all that exercise might have worn me out. My head has been elsewhere.
Really? That is a relief. I was worried you were upset with me.
I was, but that was not a conversation I could have right now. No. I actually wanted to talk to you about something important and I didn't quite know how to approach it.
Oh?
Yes. Something you said earlier, it reminded me of Sister Catherine with a C. Catherine II. And, well, I had this question gnawing at me for a while, seeing as I've stepped into a role as chronicler. How to cover the day she died in my writings.
Oh.
Just because it stands there's a gap between when she stopped writing and when I began.
And that is a fairly significant gap.
There's no pleasant way for me to write about it, but I feel as if I must. She meant so much to everyone here.
Whoa. Yes, that would have me walking around distracted as well.
What I went to go get from the dorms was a book. I'm writing down everyone's accounts and then I'll sort of, combine them all?
Unfortunately, I'm not sure I can say much helpful. I was asleep when it happened. Eustace came round banging on doors, and I rolled out of bed and began hunting around the west side of the Abbey with a few other sisters.
Ooh, more testimony! We are drowning in testimony this episode. We've already gotten a 50% increase in the amount of our testimony. This is great.
Yeah?
Do you remember who?
It was a bit of a blur. I think Adela and Angela?
Angela found James, right? You were there when that happened?
Not near her, no. There weren't many of us, and there is a lot of ground to cover. We had all spread out to search. When I heard Angela shouting, I remember being close to the outer wall.
Near the path out toward the hospitalum.
Yeah.
Is there anything else important you can remember?
Not about Catherine's death, no. That's not all that happened that day, though. I don't know, everything the day before was fairly normal. She wouldn't have had a chance to write about that either, since she died before... I think that's worth writing down. Her last day was a normal day, a pleasant day. As far as I know, at least.
I know that it's kind of discredited as an actual thing, but have you ever read about eye language?
Yeah.
Right, like how supposedly you can tell what a person is thinking, or whether they're lying, or whether they're trying to remember something truthfully based on what direction their eyes move while they're talking. During this entire thing, Margaret's eyes have been pointed off to the side, not looking at Hedwig, but kind of down towards the ground. And if you buy into it, that is one of the indicators of either lying or evading something. Again, I know that it has been discredited, right? It's not perfectly true, but I don't know. It's something that's been on my mind. It could either mean that she's evading something or she just is ruminating about Catherine's death, and it does make her feel a little distant.
We'd even chatted the night before in the Misericorde.
Ooh.
What did you talk about? I'm sorry, I don't mean to pry. You were right, there's something more pleasant that I can make sure gets recorded about that day.
We'd been talking about her plans for the future.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh my.
She had big ideas.
She always did, didn't she?
I could see that Margaret's eyes were glassy. Thank you, Margaret. This was a big help. Make sure it gets written down.
I'd appreciate that. Are you really going to ask everyone?
If I can.
I'd be careful. Some people might be touchy.
She wiped her face with her sleeve. I will be as gentle as I can be.
I do think her sorrow here is genuine. She didn't come across as someone who had something to hide, but as someone who was genuinely touched and affected by Catherine's death.
Yep.
And that kind of matches with her behavior and reactions to a lot of things thus far, right?
Yep.
Especially at Catherine's wake. So, I don't know. I'm not going to say she's definitely not guilty, but in terms of, like, suspicion level, she's definitely among the lowest.
Oh my god, it's called a wake because it washes over people after you pass. Like a boat leaves a wake after it passes. Is that why it's called that?
Because I don't know which one came first, but they all both carry the meaning of something in the trail of, or something left behind by, right? I think that's the common. I don't know. I would imagine. What would come first? A wake is a very specific kind of celebration of death, right? It's not just any. So I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I know it's been used in the context of death since like the 1300s or so in English.
And here's the thing: is that I
least.
imagined a boat wake would need a word before that point.
Because people have been on boats also for a long time.
Yeah, and it's not like this particular way of celebrating someone's death was something that has been around for thousands of years. Or at least...
Maybe it has.
Maybe it has, but not necessarily... I would believe it hasn't been with the name Wake. But who knows? I'm not going to look it up. You can if you want to.
I totally would be, but I left my cell phone far away, so we get to continue with the episode and not pause because of me.
Okay. If you want to look it up, here's my phone.
Okay.
I will be as gentle as I can be. I do think this is important, though.
I think you're right. But by God, it's going to hurt. Just take it slow, yeah?
That was not an option. I will do my best.
Right, I'll be off then.
I apologize for making you wait out here for so long.
She had one line before leaving.
Not at all.
She gave me a weak smile and then wandered off. I was left to my own devices on the cloister path again. I watched Margaret disappear around a corner and suddenly felt very nervous. Undoubtedly, she would tell the other sisters what had just occurred. First, Catherine with a K, of course, and then Catherine would loudly complain about it to whoever would listen. And then others would hear.
Okay.
Some would get offended and refuse to talk to me.
It's two completely different etymologies.
Oh, really?
Where the one of them is for a root to do with wetness.
Uh-huh.
And that's the one, as you would expect, like
For
a
boat
boat's
wake, yep.
And the other one shares a root with watch.
Oh.
And also with wake, like being awake.
Okay, yeah.
So there appear to be maybe two different verbs with a similar meaning in there for that one, but the funeral watch is where it started. The person dies and
Oh.
you'd stay and watch over their corpse for a while
Okay.
before you bury them.
So
and
it's
so on.
separate etymologies that just kind of coalesced in English in particular.
Yep.
Okay, that's neat.
Yep.
The more you know. Whoosh. I don't think that's the first time I've learned about a word like that, but they're so it's always so strange when that happens.
I've always find it so fun though when it feels like, oh, I've cracked the code, I've discovered the etymology, and you look it up and it's absolutely wrong. It's absolutely not that, but it's so plausible. It could have been that.
Because I would have absolutely believed they were a similar one because they both carried that, as we said earlier, they both carried that similar sense, right?
Yep.
But no, it just anyway.
It turns out they don't carry that similar sense.
I would be forced to spend the rest of my life an outcast in the Abbey, only exchanging polite, meaningless smiles with women who hated me.
Wow, that really went from 0 to 100 there.
Unless, of course, Catherine with a C's killer overheard Catherine with a K and Margaret complaining about my little scheme, and then I began to sprint toward the path Margaret had walked down. Perhaps I could catch her, beg her not to tell anyone what I had asked her. Oh God, I hoped it was not too late to give it all up. Swear that I had realized this was all a terrible idea. But she was gone. I realized I was halfway up the stairs and slowed down. I had no idea where she had gone. Perhaps the dorms, perhaps the library, but I knew she was nowhere I could make a private appeal. I slowly climbed the rest of the stairs in a daze and staggered toward my room. I could hear Margaret talking as I entered the dormitory hallway. She was standing with Moira and Catherine with a K, already partway through some conversation. They all looked at me as I passed. Margaret offered a small wave. I raised my hand weakly as I stumbled through my door. I collapsed on the bed, and that little sliver of determination was going to get me killed.
Hedwig?
I awoke to Moira's touch on my shoulder. I bolted upright in bed, pulling my knees up to my chest. Moira!
I apologize for barging in.
Ah!
Dinner is happening in the rectory, and everyone got worried when you didn't turn up. I wasn't sure if you were napping or ill.
Oh, I didn't mean to make everyone worry. I was just exhausted.
I understand. Busy day?
You could say so. Well, not too busy. In fact, I had a lot of spare time, but I felt so drained all the same. I briefly chatted with Margaret and then, very strongly felt the urge to sleep. Moira chuckled.
I can't say I relate. Margaret never bores me.
Oh, no. I was not bored. I just...
A difficult conversation.
Yeah, how did you know?
Margaret seemed a little out of sorts. Pensive, you know.
I groaned. I had no intention of upsetting her.
I'm sure you didn't. Whatever you were talking about, you couldn't have known. Perhaps you just reminded her of something unpleasant.
I don't want to remind anyone of unpleasant things.
That just happens. It's impossible to know for certain what could set people off. I used to upset Catherine with a K terribly by talking about paintings I'd seen before taking my vows.
Wait, really?
Wait, really? Catherine the First?
Aye. We used to spend a lot of time grousing about missing our old lives. And I would say, oh, how I miss sitting for portraits.
Sitting for portraits? I mean, I knew we had said Moira must have come from some kind of class, but dang.
And Catherine would get all sullen. Nothing to do with me, of course. I tried apologizing for it, but she insisted it wasn't really my fault. I'm sure whatever you and Margaret were talking about was perfectly fine. Or rather, maybe not perfectly fine, but you can trust that she knows whatever thought you accidentally put in her head you didn't mean to. You couldn't have known.
I certainly hope so.
Hedwig.
Ah! Moira looked surprisingly serious. I was taken aback.
You always say I hope so when I'm right about something. It's like you want me to be wrong.
I don't mean that.
I'm sure it's not on purpose, but you should trust me. I'm good at these things.
You do always beam when I need you to.
Trust Margaret and trust me.
What? That's So... very well.
Or maybe she means it in the sense of like, trust us when we tell you what we're feeling. Maybe it's not in a really sinister sense.
I stood up and...
I misread that as wretched.
I stood up and retched.
Blah.
I stood up and stretched. These naps were not doing my body any good.
Are you hungry at all? Do you want to come down for the end of supper?
I don't think so. I think I might do some writing or some such.
Well, I won't nag you. Could I keep you company for a moment?
Well, certainly. Moira sat down on the bed across from me.
At that moment when you get Moira, wait, is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it?
You know, if you're not hungry now, I think there's room in the Misericorde tonight.
Oh?
Let me think. Myself, Margaret, Catherine, Adela, and Eustace are the only ones who have committed, I think. So yes, you should join us.
Well, another night of debauchery was the last thing I wanted, and the thought of sharing space with Adela was deeply embarrassing. On the other hand, it was a perfect opportunity to ask several sisters about the night Catherine with the C died. I sighed and steeled myself. If only I could conjure the sense of strength that holding the sword that evening in the cellars imbued in me. Well, why not? Hopefully none of Eustace's pranks this time.
She'll be there, so you and I can keep an eye on her.
I chuckled weakly.
Well, we have at least an hour. I don't know about you, but I'm aching all over.
Busybody, huh?
Have you had a busy day?
Busy week, more like. And a busy month. Busy year.
Plotting the assassination of the king? Maybe?
A busy life with not much to show for it, I'm afraid.
You have plenty to show for it, surely. Is there anyone as accomplished as you here? Aside from Darcy, I suppose.
I appreciate that. You're quite right. But sometimes I think about what life would be like if I had ended up somewhere a mite more prestigious. There are abbeys out there doing really advanced work. Medical journals, surgeries, that sort of thing.
I would faint if I were within a mile of a surgery.
Oh, it took me a long time to get used to the sight of blood and guts.
Just those words make me quite ill.
What's the most horrible thing you've ever seen? Hey, Hedwig, what's the most horrible thing you've ever seen? Hey, Hedwig.
I want to go home. Superior! Moira's bullying me. I couldn't help but let rotten images flash through my mind. The sensation of Flora's leg knocking against my side. A fish's skull cracking against the side of a bucket. The quickest glimpse of a goat's head leaving its body as a sword swung through it. Insects crawling through slimy innards. Pale, waterlogged skin. I shivered.
Pale, waterlogged skin.
Yeah,
what is
I
that?
know.
What is that, Hedwig?
Was that from people drowning on the too crowded lifeboat? Hedwig? I feel like we're getting more and more bits about what happened before Hedwig came here, and also the insect one. Was that something that we?
I don't know that one.
Yeah, that was another one that stood out to me as something that I couldn't immediately place from this story. So,
I shivered. My imagination could not be allowed to run wild this way. In all honesty, Flora's leg might be the most harrowing image I've witnessed.
Oh, yes. It's a miracle it's still attached at all. If you hadn't been there, she would have certainly lost it forever. Although, between you and me, there is a very good chance we'll still need to amputate it. If I can be grave for a moment, I keep thinking to myself, maybe that would have been better. We did a lot of extra work when a quick, clean cut above the knee probably would have sufficed.
I'm sure she's grateful to have both legs still.
If she recovers properly. I say properly, but it's more like if she has a miraculously good recovery. If she ever walks again, it'll be with a limp for the rest of her life.
Is that so bad? Moira giggled pleasantly.
You have such a way of cutting through my worries, Hedwig. You are right, of course. It would be better to limp forever than not walk at all.
We sat in silence for a moment.
I hope you don't think I look down on the crippled. I used to work at an abbey much closer to a castle, you know. Lots of soldiers would come in with the most horrible injuries you can imagine.
Ah!
I've chopped legs off before, you know.
Ah!
And arms.
Ah!
I've cut away mangled genitals crushed by horses, too.
How often does that happen?
I've even scooped out damaged eyes.
Enough! I truly will retch if you don't stop.
I'm so sorry, Hedwig. All I mean to say is, I've seen what life is like without a limb or two. It's a lot harder. People can be very cruel. There's not much work out there for crippled men, maybe even less for crippled women.
Well, Flora's in service to the Lord in an abbey, isn't she? She'll make do no matter what.
I've always wondered if she'll stay here.
Of course she will. One can't just leave.
See, that's just the thing. One can just leave. You can leave whenever you like, in fact. It will be hard, no doubt. Asking for official permission from the Pope, mind you, those are very slim chances and could take years if it did happen. But leaving? Just leaving? That can be done as quick as you like.
But finding a life outside of the abbey?
No easy task, to be sure. And much harder for someone like Flora, who would marry her without a leg. No wealthy suitor, that's for certain. But she could leave. If she was pushed far enough, she could leave. Nobody could stop her. She might die in a ditch a few weeks later, but she could leave. Goodness, I keep saying such grim things.
And you say it with a smile, too, and that's honestly the most disconcerting part.
I really do not mean to be so gloomy, Hedwig. I just have a lot of these thoughts that I haven't been able to share.
Why do you think they're worth sharing with me? It's no trouble. Are you threatening me? Is this a threat? I liked it better when you were beaming. She nodded at me and I realized her lips were trembling. Her eyes were glassy.
I've just got too much going on.
No, Moira. I sat there feeling very stupid.
I feel like if I stop moving, I can't keep all these thoughts at bay.
What can I do for you? She laughed through her sniffles.
You're meant to hug me, silly.
Oh. I acquiesced, bewildered. I stepped forward and did my best to wrap her in my arms, and she pulled me into her shoulder. It was warm, and bending down to meet her on the edge of the bed was slightly uncomfortable.
Moira, do you just need a hug? Don't forget, they've got a betting pool going on.
Just a moment. I clambered over her awkwardly into a more comfortable position. It was difficult, and she was still clinging to my torso all the while. Once I was more comfortable, I returned Moira's embrace, wrapping my arms gingerly around her back.
See? Isn't this nice?
I suppose it is. She adjusted, turning her back to me and nestling into my pillow, leaving me with my arms dangled around her neck and shoulders as I lay next to her sideways. Oh, they're spooning!
Hedwig is big spoon.
Yeah, wow. Unexpected.
Going for the big spoon your first time. Hedwig.
Wow.
Power move. Make sure to keep that lower arm. Yeah, that's going to go to sleep real fast. Maybe you'll want to Superman it.
A little nap before we head to the Misericorde sounds divine. I can feel those aches melting away.
That would be good. One of my arms was pinned to the bed by her body, but I didn't want to disturb her. I tried my best to relax, somewhat bewildered by the position I found myself in. At the very least, I did not feel as off-kilter as I had when Adela had nestled close to me by the fire some nights ago.
save for my arm, which was beginning to tingle. Moira! Moira! I could hear a gentle snore. Ah! I dared not fall asleep myself, lest I miss the opportunity to prod everyone about the night Catherine with a C was murdered. I cursed myself for failing to ask Moira before she dozed off. Well, I suppose there would be time enough soon.
Ow, ow. There's gotta be a better way to do this.
I adjusted my arm as best I could without waking Moira, and watched the light outside slowly fade. Eventually I could hear people moving about and chattering outside my door, and I could sense the energy of preparation. I shook Moira's shoulder as softly as I could.
I think it's time.
Oh, goodness me, did I fall asleep?
Yes, you did.
Oh no, I was just so comfortable. I hope I didn't trap you in your bed.
It was no trouble. But we should probably get up.
Indeed. Would you mind stepping out first?
Her voice had dropped to a low whisper.
Just for, plausible deniability? You know how Catherine and Margaret are. I have a reputation to maintain. And I'd never hear the end of the jokes if we stepped out together.
You think that they might think?
They've thought worse on less evidence.
She has a reputation to maintain. What reputation? Is she going steady with someone? Is that what this is, or?
I nodded and climbed over Moira to leave. I opened and closed my door as surreptitiously as I could, making sure nobody in the hall would be able to look into my room that I just left Moira alone in with my book full of notes, and able to investigate anything she wanted. Hedwig!
Hedwig's absolutely going to fall in love with Moira, and Moira's absolutely going to turn out to be the killer somehow.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You know, when we were playing Volume 1, I was the one that had the Toxic Yuri glasses on, but I think at this point it's firmly fallen in your court.
To be fair, the Toxic Yuri is now canon.
It was canon before, it just wasn't in the text. I'm just operating on a different level.
True.
Without Toxic Yuri, it cannot be seen.
Exactly.
Great job, Hedwig. Great job.
Luckily, only Eustace remained in the hall. She was leaning down examining the hearth, looking as if she'd lost something.
Huh? Oh, hey, good evening.
Greetings. I am joining you all in the Misericorde tonight.
Oh, that's so.
Yes.
And?
Well, I don't know. Thought you might be happy to hear that.
Oh, certainly. Oh, sorry. My mind is elsewhere.
Could I help with something?
No.
She sighed and stood up.
Yep. Come on. Might as well head on over.
I followed her lead out into the hall. There was a slight smell of smoke on the landing. Adela was lighting the torches. Eustace wrinkled her nose.
Ah, my friends.
Now here's the question. Is Moira actually going to be the one who... Okay, so there are two... In my mind right now, there are two different versions of this. One, Moira is actually the one who killed Catherine with a C. And it is going to be... And it is going to wind up being... Hedwig gets closer and closer to her, and then it winds up Moira was the one who did it, right? The other version of this... Maybe the author already expects us to lean into that. Because Moira, as we've noted repeatedly, is the one who looks most suspicious. Maybe she's the bait. Maybe she is guilty of something else, but that something else is not Catherine's death.
An unknown crime X.
And one of the other nuns who we're now primed to pay less attention to is under the radar with something else.
Perhaps so.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't keep the suspicion on Moira, just we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket just yet, right? Yeah.
I will be joining you in the Misericorde as soon as I have finished lighting all of the torches.
She was as chipper as always. I tried my best to smile. I wonder if she felt as oddly as I did about spending an evening with me in that little room. Eustace opened the Misericorde door and ushered me in. Margaret and Catherine with a K were already seated at the center table, with a half-empty wineskin resting between them.
Hedwig!
Ooh, hold on. New beats, new beats, new beats.
What a delightful surprise. I seem to recall your first night in here was cut short.
How come every time someone says my name, it's the most menacing thing in the world?
Although for the life of me, I don't remember why.
Eustace rolled her eyes and refused to take the bait.
Tonight is us four. Adela and Moira, yeah?
That's what I heard. Where is Moira?
In the dorm still, I should think. She said something about needing a nap last I spoke to her.
Ah,
And Adela is just finishing up lighting the torches outside.
wonderful. I'll be able to stumble back to bed with no trouble.
Catherine poured some wine into an empty wine cup and gestured toward me.
Here, Hedwig. Rejoice. You're going to be in relatively noble company tonight.
Is that so?
She's just happy Sister Angela is absent. That makes me sound so conceited. Does the absence of a cold-hearted shrew, 2 old hags and a wheelbarrow make me happy? No. The presence of my dear friend Margaret and the rest of this esteemed company makes me happy. I think that's a far better way to look at things. Cheers.
She raised her cup. Catherine with a K downed the rest of her own drink and began pouring another.
Eustace, do you know if Darcy is cooking anything for us?
No, actually. I forgot to mention that. She's getting a little anxious about supplies and doesn't want to cook anything extra.
Boo. Aren't we due several more deliveries before it gets snowy?
1 at least, but I can't blame her for wanting to be conservative at the moment. Got 2 new oblates on the way, winter looming. Not to mention all those builders whenever they turn up.
They'll be bringing in their own supplies, surely. As far as I'm aware, yes, that is their responsibility.
Eustace shrugged.
I'm just the messenger.
Indeed. Well, perhaps we can just go raid the pantry later. Ooh, yes. You'll be singing a different tune after you get peckish.
Yeah, we'll see.
Eustace stepped forward, and Catherine with a K began to pour her a cup. The door opened, and in stepped Adela and Moira.
Hello, everyone.
We all raised our cups toward the new arrivals. Am I doing this right?
Hedwig, it's almost like 2 feet above your head. It's just a small little raise. It's a gesture, not a competition.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What a wonderful turnout we have tonight.
Sorry, I really like this beat. This is a good one.
Just the young ones.
Well, not the youngest.
Catherine's a stretch, too.
Catherine smacked Margaret's shoulder in a way that alarmed me, but the pair of them seemed to be in good spirits.
What are we doing this evening,
No plans.
other than a pantry raid?
We are not raiding the pantry.
Chapter title, Pantry Raid.
Raiding the pantry.
Hell yeah! ZC, I am on your level right now.
Yep.
And we'll have to get to that next time.
Next time.
Oh, yeah, I love it when that happens. Just absolutely on something.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.